This entire gaming setup cost only $180 and it was able to perform like a pro gaming setup. Okay, so inside of this box, I have literally an entire gaming setup for only $180. So we literally have an entire gaming PC, a gaming monitor, the gaming keyboard, mouse, and mouse pad. Literally everything a setup needs inside of this pretty small box. And yeah, the reason why I actually picked this thing up for super cheap. I mean, I seen the exact same listing on Amazon and this thing goes for about like $310. But yeah, I picked this thing up for super cheap off eBay for a really good steal. This box should be the gaming monitor. So you guys can see we have a pretty small gaming monitor inside of the box. This should honestly just be like a 24-inch gaming monitor just based off the box. But taking a look inside of the box, you guys can see we have the other gaming peripherals inside of this box. It actually comes with a gaming headset. I didn't even know that, but we have a pretty cool looking gaming headset inside of the box as well. And then we have the gaming keyboard right over here. Obviously, since this entire gaming setup is going to be really cheap, all the peripherals are obviously going to be like much cheaper peripherals. This gaming keyboard, I'm pretty sure isn't even a mechanical gaming keyboard, like one of those membrane gaming keyboards with RGB. So it is coming from STG Aubron. If you guys don't know STG Aubron, they literally make a bunch of cheap gaming PCs, as well as having super cheap gaming keyboards and mouse. Inside the box, obviously you guys can see we have the gaming PC right here as well. Like the box itself is already pretty small and the gaming PC literally doesn't even take up half the space inside the box. So the gaming PC is also really small, and right literally in the corner, I'm pretty sure this is the gaming mouse. Yeah, this box is literally just like a white box for this gaming mouse. You guys can definitely tell this entire setup is just super cheap. Either way, I still got it for a really good deal for $180. I think check like eBay, Facebook Marketplace. You guys will be able to get some pretty good deals for gaming keyboards, gaming mouse, sometimes even like a gaming PC bundle. So yeah, this entire box has everything you need for a gaming setup inside. Although everything is just super cheap, if you guys are on a pretty cheap budget, this is honestly not a bad deal. You're able to get everything you need to actually play a game with. For $180, I'm pretty sure you can get a better deal than that. But I am definitely really curious to actually see how good this gaming PC is, just because everything costs $180. So I'm pretty sure the PC itself would be like a $100 gaming PC. Okay, so this right here is the gaming PC for this extremely cheap gaming setup. I mean, this gaming PC also definitely looks like a office gaming PC or like a Dell Optiplex with RGB, which I mean, definitely pretty expected just because this thing is super cheap. But I'm actually curious what the specs are inside of this PC, just because we're gonna try to go ahead and actually run games from this PC. So maybe this thing has a dedicated graphics card inside of it. Hopefully it does, even if it's like a really cheap and old graphics card. Usually I would advise you guys to stay away from like these gaming PC bundle deals, just because everything is usually super overpriced. But like I said, since I got this thing for only $180, it honestly is definitely a really good deal. So we have all like the manual stuff inside. And then we have the actual gaming PC right over here. Also, it does come with like a note on the PC, like a random note from like the owner. I don't know, just some random stuff. But yeah, here it is. We have like this Dell Optiplex looking gaming PC. You guys can see it has like some designs over here. So it might have like RGB designs on like this front panel side. Actually, it does, because it actually comes with like an RGB control. So definitely pretty cool that this thing isn't just like an office PC. But yeah, let's go ahead and actually first open this thing up and take a look at the inside of the PC specs. Hopefully there is a dedicated graphics card inside of here. Let's go ahead and take a look. Okay, so looking not too bad. We actually do have a dedicated graphics card inside of this PC though. Taking a look at the gaming PC, you guys can see we have the graphics card right over here. And I actually took a look at the box of this gaming PC. And the graphics card that's actually inside of this Dell Optiplex gaming PC is the GT1030. We actually have an NVIDIA graphics card inside of this pretty cheap gaming PC, which is definitely pretty good. Definitely a good sign that we have a dedicated graphics card. The CPU inside this gaming PC is an Intel Core i5. It doesn't say anything else on the eBay listing besides that, so it might be like a pretty old CPU inside this PC, but we do have the GT1030, which is definitely a pretty good sign, while also having 16 gigs of DDR4 RAM. Like from the outside, this gaming PC definitely doesn't look like a typical gaming PC. I'm pretty sure this thing is able to at least run like 60 FPS on Fortnite, which is definitely going to be pretty good. Now, I don't know what the refresh rate is on the gaming monitor that actually came with. I'm honestly pretty sure it's just like a 60 hertz refresh rate gaming monitor. So if we're able to run a consistent 60 FPS with this gaming PC, it wouldn't be too bad, just so we can go ahead and match it with the monitor's refresh rate. Yeah, this is literally just like your typical office looking Dell Optiplex with like a NVIDIA graphics card inside of it. I think the value of this gaming PC would just be around like $80 to $100. So definitely a really cheap PC we're gonna be using for gaming, but it's still a steal just because like everything costs less than 180 bucks. Okay, now we're gonna go ahead and take a look at the gaming monitor that actually came with. This is obviously just gonna be like a 24-inch gaming monitor, probably gonna be like a 720p resolution. But honestly, a gaming monitor coming with this bundle is honestly still just gonna be very good, especially for anyone who is on a super tight budget that's actually buying this PC bundle. Having the PC bundle literally come with everything you need is definitely a really good deal. But inside of the box, we have the gaming monitor right over here. This thing literally just looks like your typical office monitor. But inside the box, we also have like the base for this monitor, as well as this thing right over here, which I'm not sure what it actually is. But first, let's go ahead and just take everything out. This gaming monitor honestly is a pretty heavy gaming monitor. It also has really thick bezels. So, I mean, you guys already know this is gonna be like a pretty old gaming monitor. But yeah, here it is. We have like this 24-inch looking gaming monitor. Nothing too crazy, just a regular old gaming monitor. Just something to display the game for at least. Let's go ahead and take that out. Also, the gaming monitor is a STG branded gaming monitor, so I think honestly everything from this gaming setup is coming from STG Auburn. We're gonna go ahead and see what the resolution is for this gaming monitor, but most likely this thing is gonna be like a 720p or 1080p resolution monitor. All right, let's go ahead and set up like this base looking thing. Honestly, it's pretty confusing to actually set up, but we're gonna go ahead and see. We need to go ahead and actually screw in some stuff as well. But so far with this gaming monitor, it doesn't even feel like too cheap. You guys can definitely tell it is a cheaper gaming monitor though, but I was completely expecting something much cheaper. And the build quality so far isn't even like extremely cheap. Although everything is obviously made out of plastic, like it still isn't like extremely cheap, which is definitely pretty surprising. Let's go ahead and place this thing on, and just like that, we have the monitor set up. Now, is this thing a good gaming monitor? Definitely not. You guys can see this thing wobbles a ton. But for like a monitor that's just built in, included for this PC bundle, I think it isn't too bad. Like the base and everything is definitely not that sturdy. It wobbles way too much. But honestly, this thing isn't too... Moving on, we have all the peripherals from this gaming PC bundle. Most of the boxes are just like completely destroyed, but we're gonna go ahead and still see if it's any good. First, starting off with this gaming headset, which I didn't even know it actually came with. Okay, taking out this headset is definitely giving off like pretty old gaming headset. Feeling all the materials and stuff, it definitely feels like really cheap. Like just taking a look at like the cushioning and stuff, it isn't like the best, but I definitely feel like you can make this work, especially for anyone who's on a budget. You're definitely gonna need it. It also does come with a mic, so that is a plus. Just because this headset, I did not expect to actually come with a mic, but cushioning and everything, I give it like a solid 6 out of 10. I'm obviously not gonna put this thing on my head just because it feels super dirty and everything, but I think it isn't too bad. It's just like really cheap plastic. Maybe it'll break after like 2 years of using it, but for now, you guys could definitely make this work. Moving on, we have the gaming mouse, which literally just came with this white box. Now, from a super cheap gaming mouse, all I'm literally expecting is something that looks like a Booga mouse, which I would be correct once again. I mean, these things are literally like a starter pack for cheap gaming mouse. Literally all just look like this. I mean, this thing does have the STG Auburn logo on it as well. But I mean, feeling this thing, it's like super cheap. Made out of fully plastic. The only good thing about this is that it isn't too heavy. I feel like the weight is around like 60 grams or so, but it is still a wired mouse, so that is definitely a downside with this mouse still. Also, something with like super cheap gaming mouse and keyboards is that sometimes the keys just won't respond. So that is going to be a problem you're going to be facing with something super cheap like this. But I mean, this is just like your regular gaming mouse. It's just going to get the work done. It doesn't have any side buttons or anything like that. So if anyone needs that, this is definitely not the mouse for you. And lastly, we have the gaming keyboard, which I am definitely just expecting a membrane keyboard to come out. There's no way this thing is like a mechanical gaming keyboard. It is also a faux size gaming keyboard, so I'm already not a huge fan of it. But taking it out, yeah, this thing is literally just a membrane keyboard. just listen to this keyboard, bro. I mean, it definitely is like really cheap. It's super lightweight just because the material is so bad, but we just have like a simple membrane keyboard, full size gaming keyboard, nothing too crazy. It will obviously have RGB, but the RGB is just gonna be really dim and not that vibrant. Like this entire keyboard, like you could probably break this just from snapping it with like half your power. That's how cheap this thing is, but obviously everything costs less than $180, so they're probably just gonna give you like a $5 value gaming keyboard. Okay, so here is the entire gaming setup now. This entire gaming setup literally cost less than $200, and everything came from a little small box. But if you guys actually take a look at this gaming monitor, the resolution of this gaming monitor is a 1920 by 1080p resolution. I was definitely expecting this monitor to run a 720p resolution, but I was actually pretty surprised that this thing could run 1080p resolution, just because this monitor is definitely a much cheaper gaming monitor. It's definitely like a $60 gaming monitor, but it is a 60 hertz refresh rate screen though. And also, if you guys take a look at this gaming PC, you guys can see it definitely has some really nice RGB on here. It is a Dell Optiplex, but it still has some nice RGB on this front panel. It's nothing too crazy, but definitely looks pretty cool, not making this thing look like a plain Dell Optiplex. And now if we go ahead and actually take a look at the max FPS this PC could actually get, the max FPS is actually pretty surprising. The max FPS right now we're getting is definitely really good. We're getting about like 230 FPS right now. But the only problem is the FPS is definitely really inconsistent. It literally just drops down to 140 FPS pretty easily. I'd say this PC definitely runs at about a consistent 110 FPS. And this is on all low settings right now. So I did try to push this PC to its max FPS, just because when I did run 100% 3D resolution, this thing couldn't run a pretty consistent like 100 FPS. But I mean, when I go ahead and drop it down to 720p resolution, which is actually lower than the monitor's resolution, we're able to actually get a pretty high max FPS. And yeah, once I go ahead and actually start building, the FPS definitely does drop down to about like 90 to 110 FPS. But for the most part, the game is still running very good. We're not getting some crazy frame drops. We're at least still above the refresh rate, which is definitely really good. Also, something with this gaming monitor is that the monitor has no speakers at all, so you literally cannot hear the game. I would definitely advise you guys just to buy a cheaper gaming monitor, since you literally cannot hear no volume from the game at all. But yeah, the keyboard and mouse, they're both obviously super cheap, but at least so far it's being responsive. I'm not sure if we go ahead and actually get into an actual game, if the keyboard and the mouse start like having delays and stuff, but for the most part, right now it's actually being responsive, which is definitely good, since they are both just super cheap peripherals. And now taking a look at the max FPS we're still getting in an actual game, you guys can see this PC actually runs a pretty consistent 110 to 120 FPS in an actual game. And it's pretty consistent too. We're sometimes even reaching 140 FPS. And the lowest I actually seen it drop to was only about like 90 FPS. So yeah, honestly, the PC isn't too bad. Once we actually land in, we're only running about like 90 to 100 FPS. But for the most part, this setup is definitely really playable. Oh my God, bro. 2 llamas back to back, literally right there. Oh, 2, 3, 4. Bro. No, like I'm actually chasing this guy. This guy's one shot. Bro, the guns are actually so bad. Oh, free kill. This mouse DPI is actually really low, I'm not gonna lie. And since I also can't hear the game, I don't even know what's going on at all, but we're running actually a pretty consistent 120 FPS right now, which is definitely pretty surprising because I definitely did not expect that from this gaming PC. Alright, we're literally just gonna get shot and we don't know what's actually coming from. Like I said with this mouse as well, it's definitely really low sensitivity. And since it is a cheaper mouse, it definitely feels very hard to actually use. Like move around and stuff, it definitely feels pretty hard to actually use. Oh, cracked. Let's get up, let's get up. Oh, he's running. He's running. Let's chase him, let's chase him, let's chase him, let's chase him. Where is he? He's somewhere over here. Yeah, he's right here. Cracked. First try. There's no way. Bro. Yeah, there's something up with this mouse, bro. It's definitely like really hard to move around and stuff. Obviously, since this mouse is just super cheap, like aiming and everything is just super hard with this mouse. Honestly, I just got to get used to this setup and I think I should be good to go. There's someone in that bush. There's someone in that bush. Okay, I'm actually horrible. I'm actually horrible. I think me not able to hear the game also has an effect on this. It's like so quiet for some reason. It feels super weird, but I'm actually pretty surprised I don't really have problems with the keyboard. I thought I was gonna expect this thing to be just complete garbage, but it doesn't really have like crazy delay. It's not unresponsive. This keyboard is actually doing not too bad. Obviously, it's not a good keyboard, but it definitely works as a gaming keyboard for such a cheap setup. And since the setup also didn't come with a mouse pad, I'm playing right now with no mouse pad as well, so it definitely feels pretty weird. I honestly thought it actually came with the mouse pad. It actually came with a headset instead. But with this PC, we're still running a pretty consistent 120 to 130 FPS. Obviously, since the resolution and the 3D res is super, super low, we are able to get some pretty high FPS. And that's probably like the only way you're gonna keep a pretty consistent FPS on this PC as well. Oh my, 30? Bro, this mouse is so hard to aim with, I swear. Cracked? That was not cracked, actually. I literally cannot hear it, that's why. First try. Edit. Oh, cracked. Edit. Bro, this keyboard and the mouse is just so freaking slow to actually move around with. Let's go, bro. GG. There's like actually no way you could play on this setup.